Joining me now to discuss the geopolitical implications of Kazakhstan's unrest is Mariya Omelicheva, and she's a professor of strategy at the National War College in Washington, D.C. Great to have you on the program. Tell us, what do you think the arrest of Kazakhstan's intelligence chief tells us about President Tokayev's trust in his own security forces?
Absolutely, thank you. So I think the arrest clearly indicates that one of the reasons for why the protests that began peacefully and in response to a range of economic grievances actually have intra-elite competition undertones. They suggest that current President Tokayev sort of lost confidence in his own security services and their ability to provide security and support to his regime. And that might be one of the reasons for firing the head of the security service.
And President Tokayev, he's told Vladimir Putin that his country is still under the threat of what he calls terrorists. And he's using that word. Your reaction to this?
Well, first of all, this is not uncommon for the top government officials in Kazakhstan to blame various kinds of domestic challenges and problems on the threat of extremism and terrorism. And there has been a long tradition of thinking about the sources of radicalization in Kazakhstan as external, as alien, kind of denying domestic challenges, domestic sources of home radicalization. But there is also a legal foundation, a legal necessity for why Tokayev referred to the protesters, the rioters, as terrorists, undermining the state integrity and sovereignty. That provided the legal basis for invoking Article 4 of the Collective Security Treaty Organization to allow Russia-led organization to send the CSTO peacekeeping troops to Kazakhstan. So that was necessary to justify the use of force against protesters and to...
But Mariya, sorry to interrupt. Was there evidence that these were terrorists or gangs trained from outside, as we've been hearing, all week? Was there evidence?
I would take any kind of evidence that is cited in social media with grain of source. There were reports of kind of Islamist-style beheadings of the police, but there is nothing that has been corroborated. So I will be very, very careful. I don't want to deny that there are some religious undercurrents in the country, but to blame everything on the radicals, it's an exaggeration, an overstatement.
And how will people in Kazakhstan be viewing the arrival of Russian troops into their country?
Well, first of all, the country remains under the informational blockade, so we hear very little. But whatever information that trickles on the telegram, I mean, Russia has developed a reputation as not a peacekeeper, but as an invader, as a meddler in the domestic politics. And we also know that in Kazakhstan, still large Russian ethnic minority has been kind of diminished in its rights, and many more have been leaving. So I think what I hear is that Russia's meddling is not welcomed. It's not viewed as a sign of peacekeeping, but rather as kind of an extension of power. And there are suspicions that there may be somehow an effort to maybe redraw the boundary, the border between Kazakhstan and Russia. But there is definitely nothing positive that came out of that intervention in terms of how Russia is perceived in Kazakhstan and broader Central Asia.
Mariya, great to get your analysis. Thank you so much for your time, Mariya Omelicheva from the National War College in Washington, D.C. Thank you.